Good morning, welcome back. Today I'm gonna film a get ready with me and a bit of a chat about I think what I plan to pen for 2024. I have a bit of a cold at the moment, like I do feel quite sick and I feel like that's often when I end up making sort of some of these extra videos is when I feel like, you know, I can't really go out, so I might as well, I have the time. It's really hot here. It is summer down in Australia, so if I get a bit sweaty, just bear with as well. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing a get ready with me, focusing mostly on the things that I am panning. I'll talk you through that. I'll talk through what my plan is for those products for next year. I think what I'll do first off is just kind of like pull out the things that I'm gonna focus on, and then yeah, show you guys how that's all looking. I'm gonna put up my hair to start with because it is really hot. So yeah, I'll pull some stuff out. So first off, I will start with my sunscreen. This is my favorite sunscreen. I'm not specifically panning it because like I'm at the point where I've tried a few different ones and this is the one that works for me. I just rebuy it over and over. It is expensive though. So yeah, if I did find like a cheaper alternative, I'd go for it. I will say, so this is like the Mecca Cosmetica one. I tried the, I think it's Josem, the one that's in like paler packaging. Put up a picture. It made my skin react really weirdly. I ended up with like little bumps all over my face, whereas I think most people, even with sensitive skin, say it works really well for them. So that was kind of surprising. But yeah, this one is just the one that I go back to over and over now. Then my base will consist of, this is like a little concoction that I've made, and I'll talk you guys through that as well. Maybe I'll pull everything out first and then I'll explain it. Okay, so I think I've got pretty much everything out in front of me. Yeah, I guess I'll talk you through each thing one by one. I'll just start with my sunscreen. There will also be, as there is right now, airplanes going overhead the whole time through this video. It might even be louder than usual because normally I'd have the window closed, but it's just too hot to have the window closed and I've already like not got the fan running because of the heat, so I'm just gonna have to work through it. I'm in the process at the moment of moving jobs, which I'm looking forward to. Basically, I'm a psychologist and I've been working more clinically, as in working kind of in the therapy and assessment kind of space. And yeah, I've been finding this year, I think I have kind of this year and last year gotten burnt out multiple times. Even when the work is very rewarding, it's still very challenging. So I'm moving more into the research space, which I'm really looking forward to, very much looking forward to. I'm going to be working on a clinical trial soon, so that will be really cool. But yeah, okay, so getting into it, this is my current base product that I'm kind of focusing on, which is a concoction, a mixture of these two. So like this liquid illuminator in peach gold by Pixie, and this is the NYX Bear With Me tinted skin veil in pale light. This is too light for me. I think like for the longest time I got used to having to buy just like the lightest base product because ranges weren't that good. Maybe it was ranges specifically in Australia. When I was kind of first getting into makeup, buying like Australian drugstore, I would just pick the lightest one and it was easy. And I think actually like, I don't know, shade ranges, not everywhere of course, but have gotten better, and now I am generally speaking not the lightest shade in a range. And this one I'll show you guys like just on the back of my hand, not that that's exactly my face color, but I mean like you can kind of, yeah, hopefully that shows like it is too pale, even, you know, face wise, right? So yeah, what I've done is I've mixed it with this glow booster illuminator, whatever, because I kind of like, when I first got this, thought of it as a liquid highlighter, but I'd never used liquid highlighter. Like I'm not gonna like squirt out a little bit and like dab it on the high points. It just doesn't really fit into my routine. So I've been mixing it in to kind of make this a glowier product. And then what I've also been doing is scraping brown eyeshadow into it, which might sound like the most kind of cracked part of this process, but literally just to deepen it a little bit, and it's worked out pretty fine. Like even if there are tiny chunks in there, if I rub it in, it all gets evened out in the end. I mostly apply this. It's funny only like kind of realizing how weird some of your methods are when you have to do them on camera. I normally don't put my fingers into this pot because my nails are too long and have been too long for the last few months because I've been painting them so much that they're kind of like growing longer than they used to, I guess because I'm taking better care of them. So I use the back of the brush just to kind of like dab it on. And yeah, because the products that I use are pretty sheer, I would often use like just my fingers to rub it in if that feels kind of comfortable on the day. It kind of depends. Again, with things like the heat, it gets a bit like, it feels more gross to do it when it's hot than when it's kind of a comfortable temperature. So anyway, that's roughly how much I'd use. And yeah, I do intend to finish both of these next year. I've been like squirting like maybe like 2 to 1 as a ratio, which I mean in terms of their size kind of works anyway. Hopefully I'll use them up around the same time. And yeah, so I'm sort of not intending to buy any new base products until I've used up a couple. I don't have heaps anyway, so yeah, really I guess I'd like to use up all of them that I own before buying a new one, unless I was specifically going to go for something higher coverage, because right now they're all sheer products. I'm going to use a brush today because my fingers feel a bit like grotty and gross because I'm sweaty. It's summer in Australia. We're coming up to Christmas time. There is a kind of funny, I don't know, like clash between our Christmas traditions here, which are very much inherited from the British, versus the temperature and like the realities of what's going on. Like you still have people dressed in full Santa suits in the heat, and you know, like a lot of the sweets and stuff that we eat are kind of yeah, kind of spiced. I mean, there is also this kind of like Australian version of Christmassy stuff that's more kind of like coconut, pavlova, like pineapple, mango, tropical fruit kind of vibe. But I feel like the majority is still kind of like, yeah, Christmas pudding, and like mince pies and stuff like that are very British and like seasonally don't really feel like they fit the best. But anyway, I mean, that's kind of just, yeah, where we're up to at this time of the year. So yeah, what I'll do often after using a brush is like sometimes using either my palms or the back of my hand like a sponge, which again might sound so weird, but it's just kind of like making sure I'm not streaky, but I don't really want to have to use a whole nother thing like a sponge. I'm gonna put a tiny bit of concealer just here, my most recent little spot. This is technically a peach corrector, but I feel like it's pretty much my skin tone anyway. Oh, so that did like absolutely nothing. And you know what? I don't care. It's fine. I really like this. This is my new under eye corrector. I'll show you guys what I've been doing before, which was another one of my concoctions. This is what I've been making out of a color corrector and a concealer that are too light for me. Like the color corrector is too dark. The concealer's not even too light. I just don't use it that much. Weirdly enough, I can't find my concealer right now. This is the color corrector. It's like a Mecca Max one. It's kind of shit. Like it's just dry, not great for creasing. Yeah, I just sneezed and I feel like even just blowing my nose took like half that product off my nose. We're just gonna have to roll with it, make do. I was saying I'm really overusing my little Franken color corrector. It's quite liquidy and therefore I think the texture is just not what I really like in a color corrector. Whereas these are just like silky and kind of, what's the word I used before? Like not like slippery, but just like they're thin. They're really thin, which is kind of nice. So I've been using the darker one for the most part, and then the lighter one sometimes adds like the inner corner, like the very most inner corner, and also sometimes just as a concealer. Like for the rest of my face, this kind of works well. But what I do is that I use a color corrector that's not too light, because my cheeks have like natural redness in them that I can never fully cover up, and I don't really care to cover it up anyway. And so my cheeks are always like a tiny bit darker than the rest of my face anyway, and so then I don't want the contrast between like pale under eyes and dark cheeks. Not that it's like, yeah, like significant contrast, but I prefer it to be as seamless as possible, hence why I don't like my under eyes to be super bright. Oh, excuse me, my stupid sniffles. Okay. Oh yeah, I'll show you just like, not that this is perfectly applied or anything, but like left hand, right hand, hopefully you can see a difference in terms of what the color corrector is actually doing. Yeah, I've also been really into doing my nails lately. I think I don't know if I said that before, but this is Cirque Colors Lucky Jelly. I think it's one of their most popular shades. It's like a red jelly, so rather than being an opaque red, it is a sheer. And I really like that effect. It's kind of like high maintenance and a pain in the ass because you have to be like quite precise, make sure it's not streaky. You do have to do several coats. I did 3 coats of this plus a top coat, plus maybe a base coat as well. So you can end up kind of stacking it on, but they're just so, I don't know, like juicy and satisfying. Yeah. Anyway, I'm definitely going to powder my face because, actually I'll put a tiny bit of concealer around my nose as well. I'm going to powder my face because it's just so fucking hot here. I might go for a swim later as well. Okay. Alright, so, oh yeah, now this brings me to my next focus product. I'm definitely going to try and finish this next year. So this is a blurring powder. It's like a peach blur from Too Faced's old peach line. I have a hit pan, this kind of lumpy pan over in the corner. It's, I don't know to what extent the peachiness of this is actually like tinting my face a little bit, or if it's fine. I think this is probably best used for touch-ups and not for setting a face at the beginning of the day. Because what I also own is, I also have this, which is like, I don't know, more normal of a powder, like just a loose powder. Fucking tastes great as well, which is hilarious. But yeah, so this one, I don't think I'm planning on finishing this next year, but I might be focusing on it like just kind of in combination with this one. This one I want to finish, but I don't think it works like hard enough for a sweaty day, whereas this loose one I think does. So I'm gonna kind of like, yeah, I'm someone who doesn't really set my face unless it's a hot sweaty day, and it is a hot sweaty day. Okay, so there we go. I am a bit mattified. It has that kind of sugary taste when it hits your lips, so it's kind of cute. Now I just finished a bronzer. I don't know if I'm going to upload this video or my other video next, but I just finished a bronzer in my face palette. I haven't cleaned it yet. I finished it. Very exciting. And yeah, so because of that, I'm going to move on to focusing on a new bronzer. This also really needs to be cleaned. Do you find some of these like old tin packagings get gunky and gross? Like you could almost scrape off a layer. I think that's why I'm tempted to chuck this and just keep the blush, but like depot it, because the packaging is getting so gross. Ugh. Anyway, so my next focus bronzer is going to be one that I frankened out of a couple of eyeshadows. It's in here. So that's a Physicians Formula blush. This is the old pan from a Physicians Formula bronzer, but then I made a new one last year, I think. I have like baby pan in it, as you can see, and I reckon I could finish that in a year. So I'm going to use that. Yeah, I use I use this like kind of fan brush for my bronzer most of the time. I think I just get in like habits where I'll use the exact same brush for a certain product over and over until I've washed all my brushes, and then I remember that I have some other brushes that exist and I'm like, oh, I could use that, and then I'll just get stuck using a different like bronzer appropriate brush for bronzer for the next few months. But this one I think I've been using pretty much all year, which is partly because like it fit the pan on the Too Faced peach bronzer really well, like this kind of longer narrower thing, and it just kind of makes for like easy application around the edges of your face. You're kind of not ending up bringing it too far in, because I don't like when the bronzer kind of like encroaches on your face. I just like the very edges, kind of the temples. I don't really do the forehead at the top. Yeah, so just a bit of warmth around the edges. And then I thought about, in terms of blush, and this one, I mean, I was a little precious about, and I think I was avoiding panning it because it's so pretty, but I think I'm gonna try and pan this next year, as in like hit pan on it. I don't think I'd finish it, but I might be able to hit pan. It's very pretty. It's a little bit pinker than the peachy blush I've been working on this year, but still has kind of a peachy tone. As you can see, it's not like a cool pink by any means. And it's just, yeah, like a super easy shade for me. I think it looks very natural. Like, even if I stack that on a little bit, let's see. So look like with blush and with no blush. I think it's very natural looking blush on me. Yeah. So yeah, this is in my plan to pan, and I do think I can hit pan on it, probably by like mid to late next year. Like, I don't think it will take me all year, but of course blushes often are one of the hardest things, so who knows. I normally do just a little bit across the nose as well, so that it looks kind of more natural. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think recently what I've been doing for makeup at work is just like bringing bronzer or blush into the crease and then putting like an inner corner highlight on, and that's it, because I really haven't had kind of the maybe bandwidth or time, brain space in the morning to like think of a whole like eyeshadow look. Today I am though gonna try. Oh man, I just realized I forgot. I keep forgetting that I own this. I haven't even used it once yet because I'm not a primer girl. Like, my sunscreen is my primer, so I don't end up using primers. But I want to finish this next year as well. Just like use it up. Maybe I'll end up really liking it. Like, who knows? Yeah. Oh yeah, and then highlighter. This I really want to hit pan on. I am very motivated to hit pan on this. So this is going in the project for next year. I'm going to be using my like teeniest tiniest highlighter brush from Trixie Cosmetics so that I have a better chance of hitting pan on this as well, because like highlighters are so hard for me to hit pan on or see any progress on, because I just don't use a lot. I don't like it to look too obvious, whereas with other things I don't mind it looking kind of like clear that I have product on. Something about like an iciness I really don't like. And I often go back in with my blush brush to kind of, again, diffuse. But yeah, this one is a Too Faced Candlelight Glow highlighter, which was one of their like earlier products. I must have bought this in like 2016 or something. I think it was maybe a deluxe mini, probably from one of their holiday sets. I think I probably bought it secondhand on Carousel, which is like Australian Depop. Candlelight Glow in Rosy Glow. Fuck, this must be so old. The back is gross. But yeah, it's actually a really beautiful highlighter. I think this looks very good on me. I think it suits me a lot. It's not too warm toned or golden. Yeah, no, really like it. Big fan. I use this on my moles just to like color them back in. Basically so that they don't look like they're covered in base product. I really only use it on 4 of them, so the 3 on my nose and the little one here. And this seems to just last forever. I don't use it for freckles, but I actually don't think it's very good for freckles. Like, it ends up being a bit kind of rounded, or like you can kind of, they're just very faint, and I feel like it would end up looking like age spots instead. Do you know what I mean? maybe freckles and age spots are kind of the same. Nah, anyway, yeah, no, I'm not a fan of that look. Okay, brow product. I'm gonna do my brows. This is new. I just bought this randomly the other day because I re-dyed my hair and I was like, oh, I really need to be matching my eyebrows to my hair a bit better. So I bought it in auburn. There was also a deep auburn, which maybe would have been more appropriate because I dye my hair like dark. Well, I dye my hair red with henna. So it is like an auburn kind of color. And I find that my natural brow color is quite grey. So I just want to warm it up. I don't want to add pigment, as in like I don't want to add volume or depth or whatever. All I want to do is make the tone warmer, which I think this has been achieving for me, so that's good. And I'll definitely continue using this next year. I might have to declutter my brow products because I think I do have one other product that I just kind of never got the hang of using. It was like a pomade that was like in a little dish, as in like in a pan rather than being in a tube. I always end up with one darker than the other, like every time. I don't know if you guys get that. So what I wanted to do for eyeshadow today, keeping it very simple, I'm gonna just use one of the Pamela's eyeshadows focus shades that I haven't used yet since I rolled it in, which is in here, the shade Breakthrough, and I want to use this on the inner corner. So I'm going to use a white primer. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to do anything with my lids. I will leave them au natural. So this is my white primer. It's from Glamlight. It's the only thing I own from Glamlight, which is pretty random, but I think because it was either this or the P. Louise one, and I just ended up getting, I think, whatever was available at the time. It is very, very white, but also it's easy to shear it out too much by accident. So I'll show you guys, this is freshly applied. I'm just going to blend that in a little bit, kind of as in like, make it flattened out. Okay, now I think that's well enough blended in, and I'm just going to lay the eyeshadow on top of that. So yeah, in my Pamela's eyeshadows, I wanted to use them all something like 10 times, which is definitely too ambitious. And I'm gonna aim for 5 instead, but even this one I don't know if I'll get to 5, to be honest, because it is so intense. So I'll just kind of, I'm kind of scared I'm not gonna be able to like make this blend in the way that I can with other bright inner corners. Do you know what I mean? Like with like a mint or something, it's actually pretty easy to make it kind of just at the tiniest bit smudgier so that it doesn't look crazy. But let's see. I mean, as far as the pop of color goes, it's a pretty color for it. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm just gonna have to actually see what it looks like up close. Maybe use another brush to diffuse those edges. Yeah, okay. Just kind of like tapping it on because I don't want to actually blend it out too far. I think because I've used this for concealer before, I'm just gonna kind of make sure this doesn't look super harsh around the edges. I think I'm happy with that actually. I mean, like, it's just a wild color, but that was kind of the point. I don't think I'm gonna go for like a strong lip or anything. I did get out my lip liner, but part of me is like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I might as well. I'm trying to get the hang of lip liners. I don't fully get it yet. I think this one might be too warm toned for me. Alright, I think I'm gonna leave it at that, just like a little bit more defined than my natural lip. And maybe clear gloss? I mean, why not? Yeah. I don't have my like medium color glosses here, just my bright ones or my clear. Nice. Oh yeah, I haven't even said the most exciting thing, which is I am gonna do a pan that palette next year. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna do it with the Natasha Denona pastel palette. I don't think I've seen anyone else like focus on it as a pan that palette yet. I've seen people roll it into projects, which is super satisfying. Yeah, I'm keen. I'm looking forward to it. I think like a colorful pastel. Maybe I'll need to mix some shades to find out how to make them more muted as well, for when I don't want a super like pastel bright look. But I mean, I just think it'd be fun, and I want to focus on having fun next year. That's kind of my main focus, or my main I don't know, I'm not really my main resolution is honestly to focus on having fun next year. I've also been using a lash serum recently, which I was just, keen to see if I could make it work for me. I'm using one from Silly George. If any of you guys have experience with lash serums, let me know. I don't think I've noticed any differences so far, maybe like kind of minor things, a bit of extra length, but I could be imagining that. Only things I haven't done like a before and after, so I should probably take a before ASAP, because like I only started it a couple weeks ago, and I haven't been consistently doing it twice a day like it says you need to do at the start. But I am noticing just today, normally what I find is that this eye has curly lashes and this eye they're really straight. This one is really curled. Like, it's just popping of its own accord, which is fun. So yeah, maybe there is something going on there other than just length. I'm gonna take my hair out. Let's see how the whole look goes. I think I have everything on that I wanted. So that's the final look. I'm happy with how it turned out. I don't know how clear this was in terms of actually getting through what I plan to pan next year, but I have a solid little list. Maybe I'll reflect on my notes and see if there's anything that I did miss. Okay, so yeah, the Franken bronzer, that is in here. The Funfetti blush, which is this one. The Candlelight Glow highlighter. So that's like my, Neapolitan trio to pan for my face. The NYX skin tint, and I've written in brackets rolling, so when this finishes I'll focus on the next one. The Peach Blur powder, the Australis concealer, which I've lost currently, so whatever, if I find it I'll pan it. I had also written I wanted to pan the Mecca Max color corrector, this one, but I don't like this, so I might just declutter it, to be honest. What else? I've got the e.l.f. Mint Melt Gloss. So there is a gloss that I want to focus on for the start of next year, and actually probably also the Trixie Lip Oil. So I might focus on the Mint Melt Gloss. I don't have it in this room to start with. It's maybe like 1/3 used up so far, and so is the Trixie Lip Oil. So I think what I'll do is I'll start with the e.l.f. one in summer, and as the weather gets cooler, hopefully I'll be done with that, because it does have this strong minty taste. And then I can roll in the Trixie Lip Oil. So that's kind of my plan so far, plus obviously the Natasha Denona palette, which I think is the most exciting part, because like I've rearranged her. I also swapped out one of the shades. How stunning. Like, does that not look kind of like a dream to pan? Also, because it was secondhand, there is already one pan in it and some dips, whereas like it's the only secondhand palette I've bought in a little while. But yeah, I think that's definitely gonna be fun. I am gonna wear this out and about today, and yeah, I hope you're all doing really well. So I'll see you very soon. Bye.